Many people misunderstand discipline, my dear ones, and I say that with such tenderness because I misunderstood it myself for a very long time. We were taught that discipline means force, control, pressure, pushing through resistance, overriding the body, silencing the heart. We were told that if we were good enough, strong enough, or serious enough, we would simply do what we planned to do, no matter how we felt. And when that didn't work, we blamed ourselves. We said, "Something is wrong with me. I lack discipline." But I want you to hear this very gently. There is nothing wrong with you. You have simply been using discipline in a way your body and mind were never designed to support. Your brain did not evolve to chase long-term goals through sheer willpower. It evolved to keep you safe, conserve energy, and avoid pain. When you try to dominate it with force, it doesn't become cooperative. It becomes protective. You see, willpower is not an endless resource. It is not a muscle you can flex forever. It is more like a small battery, and when you drain it with pressure, shame, and urgency, it empties very quickly. That is why so many people start with enthusiasm and end in exhaustion. They push hard for a few days or weeks, and then suddenly they feel tired, rebellious, numb, or completely uninterested. And then the inner critic appears and says, "See, you never follow through." But the truth is much kinder than that. Your nervous system interpreted your self-discipline as danger. It heard the tone of threat in your self-talk. It felt the stress in your body. And it did exactly what it was designed to do. It tried to get you out of what felt unsafe. This is why the harder you push, the more you want to quit. Stress chemicals flood the system. Cortisol rises. The brain shifts into survival mode. And in survival mode, the brain does not care about your plans, your habits, or your future goals. It cares about immediate relief. That relief might come in the form of distraction, avoidance, procrastination, or comfort behaviors. So you are not undisciplined. You are responding intelligently to an environment of inner pressure. A frightened brain does not cooperate. It escapes. And when discipline is built on fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough, the brain treats it like a threat, not a support. Now I want to pause here and ask you something, very softly, very honestly. When you think about discipline, what tone do you use with yourself? Is it harsh? Is it impatient? Is it shaming? Or is it kind? Because the tone matters more than the task. The nervous system listens to tone before it listens to words. If your inner voice sounds like an enemy, your brain will protect you from it. But if your inner voice sounds like a loving guide, your brain begins to relax. And relaxation is not laziness. Relaxation is the doorway to learning. This is where discipline truly begins, not with pressure, but with gentleness, not with self-criticism, but with self-acceptance. The brain learns best when it feels safe. That is not a motivational slogan. It is biology. When you soften your approach, when you say, "It's okay to start small," when you say, "I am learning," when you say, "I can try again," something remarkable happens. The freeze response melts, curiosity replaces resistance, and suddenly change becomes possible. There is no sustainable transformation without compassion. You cannot hate yourself into a better life. You cannot bully yourself into consistency. Love is not a reward for discipline. Love is the foundation of discipline. I want you to imagine this for a moment. Imagine speaking to a small child. "I care about my energy. I care about my time. I care about my well-being." When discipline comes from love, it does not feel like restriction. It feels like alignment. You choose to go to bed earlier not because you should, but because you want to wake up with clarity. You choose to move your body not because you hate it, but because you respect it. You choose consistency not to punish yourself, but to support yourself. Discipline does not take away freedom. Discipline creates freedom. And here is something very important I want you to remember. Discipline does not have to be dramatic to be effective. It does not have to be intense. It does not have to be perfect. Small, loving, repeated actions change everything. It calms the body. It opens the mind. It invites cooperation instead of resistance. So as we move forward together, I invite you to hold this truth close to your heart. It allows progress. And when you learn to discipline yourself the way a loving parent would, with care, consistency, and compassion, your life begins to change in ways that feel natural, nourishing, and deeply sustainable. I want to start right here with you, very gently, because this is where real change becomes possible. You do not fail at discipline because you lack strength. You struggle because the system you are using is not designed for love. And when something is not designed for love, the body resists it, the mind avoids it, and the spirit quietly shuts down. Today, I want to show you a different way. A way where discipline becomes cooperation instead of conflict, support instead of struggle, and kindness instead of force. You see, the brain does not change through lectures or pressure. The brain changes through clarity, safety, ease, and reward. This is not weakness. This is biology. When you understand this, you stop blaming yourself and start designing your life with compassion. Self-love is not indulgence. Self-love is intelligent structure. And this is where the 4 gentle laws of loving discipline come in. Not as rules to obey, but as invitations to work with your nervous system instead of against it. The first law is about clarity. I call it making the habit obvious. Your brain does not respond well to vague intentions. I should read more. I should exercise. I should meditate. Those thoughts float in the air with no anchor. The brain needs signals it can see, touch, and recognize immediately. Your environment speaks louder than your intentions. If you want to read, let the book greet you before sleep. If you want to move your body, let your shoes wait by the door like a loving reminder. This is not manipulation. This is care. You are saying to yourself, I matter enough to make this easy to remember. So many people believe they need more motivation, when what they truly need is more visibility. When the habit is obvious, the brain does not have to debate. It simply responds. And notice how loving this is. You are not yelling at yourself. You are guiding yourself. You are removing confusion. Clarity calms the nervous system. When the nervous system is calm, behavior follows naturally. You are not becoming stronger. You are becoming clearer. And clarity is one of the highest forms of self-respect. The second law is about attraction. Make the habit attractive. This is where so many people unknowingly sabotage themselves. They pair change with discomfort, boredom, or deprivation, and then wonder why they resist. The brain does not follow logic. It follows anticipation. The brain moves toward what feels good, not toward what sounds good. When you attach a habit to pleasure, warmth, beauty, or comfort, the brain begins to cooperate instead of flee. This does not mean overindulgence. It means kindness. Soft music while you stretch. Gentle lighting while you journal. A favorite tea during quiet reflection. These small pleasures tell the brain, You are safe here. And safety is essential for learning. When change feels punishing, the brain releases stress hormones and looks for escape. When change feels inviting, the brain releases dopamine and builds pathways. Love teaches faster than fear ever could. I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you for wanting ease. Ease is not laziness. Ease is intelligence. Ease is sustainability. When you allow yourself to enjoy the process, discipline stops feeling like a cage and starts feeling like a choice. And choice is empowering. You are no longer forcing yourself forward. You are being gently pulled by something that feels nourishing. The third law is about simplicity. Make the habit easy. This is where so much healing happens, because perfectionism quietly dissolves. The brain shuts down when a task feels too large, too vague, or too demanding. But the brain opens when the entry point is small. 2 minutes of love can change a lifetime of resistance. You do not need to do everything. You only need to begin. Lowering the threshold no longer feels like control. It feels like partnership. I want you to notice how different this feels from the old model. No shaming, no threats, no pressure, just cooperation, just love, just understanding how you actually work. You are not broken. You are responsive to care. And when discipline is built on care, it becomes a source of freedom, not burnout. As these 4 laws begin to work together, something beautiful happens. Your habits stop being battles. They become rituals of self-support. Your nervous system relaxes. Your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself again. And that trust changes everything. You stop starting over. You stop collapsing into guilt. You stop questioning your worth. You simply continue gently, steadily, lovingly. This is how discipline becomes an act of self-love. Not because you force yourself to be better, but because you create conditions where your best self can emerge naturally. When you treat yourself with kindness, your brain learns to cooperate. When your brain cooperates, change becomes inevitable. There is no rush. There is no punishment. There is only progress built on peace. So today, my dear, I invite you to release the old story that discipline must hurt to work. It does not. Discipline works best when it feels safe, clear, enjoyable, easy, and rewarding. This is not a shortcut. This is wisdom. And as you practice these 4 gentle laws, remember this always. You are not here to conquer yourself. You are here to care for yourself into becoming. My dear one, let me begin this part by inviting you to pause for just a moment and feel into your body. Not to think, not to analyze, not to judge, just to feel. Because what I want to share with you now is not something your mind needs to argue with. It is something your body already knows. Something your heart has been quietly trying to tell you for a very long time. So often we ask ourselves the wrong question. We wake up and say, "Do I feel like doing this today?" And if the answer is no, we decide that something is wrong with us. We decide we are lazy, undisciplined, or broken in some way. And I want to say this very gently, very clearly, so you can finally stop fighting yourself. Your willingness is not the problem. The real question has never been, do I want to do it? The real question has always been, how will I feel after I do it? You see, the mind does not move toward effort. It moves toward relief. It moves toward safety. It moves toward feelings it remembers as nourishing. Your brain learns through emotional memory. It remembers how you felt afterward, not how noble your intentions were beforehand. If every time you try to be disciplined, you punish yourself, criticize yourself, rush yourself, and exhaust yourself, your nervous system stores that experience as danger. And the next time you try again, it resists, not because it hates you, but because it is trying to protect you. Your brain is always on your side, even when it looks like self-sabotage. So instead of asking, "Can I force myself to do this today?" I invite you to ask something much kinder, much wiser, much more effective. How will I feel in my body after this is done? Will I feel calmer? Will I feel proud? Will I feel lighter? Will I feel more at home in myself? And when you begin to ask this question consistently, something shifts. The action stops being a battle. It becomes a bridge from tension to relief, from chaos to order, from self-doubt to self-trust. And the more often you cross that bridge, the more your mind learns, this is safe, this is good, this supports me. I have watched this happen in countless lives, and I have lived it myself. Discipline that is rooted in punishment never lasts. Discipline that is rooted in kindness grows roots. When you let your mind associate action with gentleness instead of threat, it stops running away. It begins to cooperate. And cooperation is far more powerful than control. You do not need to push yourself harder. You need to make yourself feel safer. Now, I want to speak to something that has caused so much unnecessary suffering for so many people. The belief that discipline is who you are instead of something you practice. People say, "I am just not a disciplined person," as if discipline were a personality trait you either inherited or missed out on. And my dear, that belief alone has kept more people stuck than any lack of motivation ever could. Discipline is not an identity. It is not a label. It is not a moral virtue. Discipline is simply a set of behaviors that the nervous system has learned to repeat. You do not become disciplined first and then act differently. You act differently in small, manageable ways, and then your identity gently reorganizes around those actions. This is how change actually happens. Identity follows behavior, not the other way around. Each time you show up for yourself in a small way, your brain takes note. It says, this is someone who returns. This is someone who cares. This is someone who follows through. And slowly, quietly, without force, your sense of self begins to shift. Not because you declared it, but because you experienced it. I want you to really take this in. You do not need to become a new person to change your habits. You simply need to repeat small actions long enough for your nervous system to feel familiar with them. That is all. No drama, no grand reinvention, no harsh self-talk, just repetition with safety. This is why tiny habits are not weak. They are wise. They work with your biology instead of against it. And when you allow yourself to learn this way, you stop feeling like a failure every time you miss a day. You understand that learning is not linear. It is rhythmic. It moves forward, pauses, circles back, and moves forward again. And this brings me to something very tender, very important. The cycle of guilt, quitting, and self-hate that so many people live inside without even realizing it. You try to be disciplined. You miss a day. Guilt floods your system. That guilt triggers stress. Stress activates survival mode. And in survival mode, learning shuts down. You quit, not because you are weak, but because your nervous system has gone into protection. Then you judge yourself for quitting. You tell yourself you are hopeless. And that self-hatred reinforces the very fear that caused the collapse in the first place. It is not a character flaw. It is a nervous system loop. Here is the truth that heals this loop. Every time you return without punishment, your brain learns that it is safe to try again. Forgiveness is not indulgence. Forgiveness is neurological repair. When you say, "It's okay, I can begin again," your system relaxes. When your system relaxes, learning becomes possible again. This is how discipline becomes sustainable, not through fear of failure, but through trust in return. Each return rewires your mind. Each return builds safety. Each return says, "I am allowed to be human and still move forward." I want you to imagine a child learning to walk. That child falls again and again, and no loving parent says, "That's it, you failed, you'll never walk." The child learns because falling is met with encouragement, not shame. Your inner world deserves the same kindness. When you stop attacking yourself for slipping, you remove the very barrier that kept you stuck. There is no growth in self-hatred for trust. And trust is the soil where discipline grows naturally. What if discipline was never meant to feel heavy, punishing, or exhausting? What if the very moment you stopped forcing yourself, stopped shaming yourself, stopped trying harder, something inside you finally relaxed enough to cooperate? My dear one, I want to sit with you right here and speak very honestly, very gently, because so many people have been hurt by the idea that discipline must hurt. And that is simply not true. Anything that requires self-hatred to sustain it is not discipline. It is self-abandonment. True, lasting discipline always walks hand in hand with a quiet, steady joy. You see, sustainable discipline is not loud. It does not shout commands. It does not crack a whip. It whispers. It invites. It says, "Come with me. This will feel better afterward." The nervous system does not respond to threats in the long term. The brain does not learn best under pressure. The body does not thrive when it is constantly bracing itself. Joy is not a reward for discipline. Joy is the fuel that makes discipline possible. And when joy is gentle, not explosive, not overstimulating, but calm and reassuring, it creates momentum that does not burn you out. Many people believe that if they enjoy something, it must not be productive. That belief alone keeps them trapped in cycles of overexertion and collapse. But the truth is this: your brain is designed to repeat what feels safe and satisfying. When you allow even a small sense of pleasure, pride, or peace after a disciplined action, your brain begins to associate that behavior with nourishment instead of threat. A walk feels good. Finishing a small task feels grounding. Showing up gently feels stabilizing. And slowly, without struggle, the habit begins to root itself. I want you to notice something important here. Joy does not mean excitement. Joy does not mean intensity. Joy can be as simple as relief. Joy can be the feeling of alignment. Joy can be the quiet thought, "I'm glad I did that." And when you collect those moments, not once, not occasionally, but daily, your system begins to trust you. Trust is the foundation of discipline. When your brain trusts that you will not hurt it, it stops resisting you. Now let us pause together for a moment and speak words that reshape the inner landscape. Say them slowly, letting them land not just in your mind, but in your body, in your breath, in your nervous system. I choose discipline because I value myself. I choose discipline because I value myself. I choose discipline because I value myself. Feel the difference? No force, no threat, only choice, only respect. And now allow this truth to settle a little deeper. Every small action I take today is building a stronger version of me. Every small action I take today is building a stronger version of me. Every small action I take today is building a stronger version of me. Notice how these words do not demand perfection. They honor continuity. They honor return. They honor effort without punishment. Let me offer you another one, because repetition is how love becomes believable. I easily maintain healthy habits in a state of calm. I easily maintain healthy habits in a state of calm. I easily maintain healthy habits in a state of calm. Your body hears this. Your subconscious hears this. And the more it hears safety, the more it opens to learning. So many people think discipline takes away freedom. And yet the opposite is true. Chaos is exhausting. Inconsistency is stressful. Unkept promises drain energy. Discipline, when rooted in self-respect, creates spaciousness. It gives your life rhythm. It gives your mind clarity. It gives your days not a dramatic transformation, just one small action that supports you. Choose a habit so small it feels almost laughable. 2 minutes, 1 page, 1 stretch, 1 glass of water. Choose the same time each day. Choose the same environment. Let the predictability soothe your nervous system. Consistency tells the brain, you are safe here. And when you miss a day, because you are human, you do not scold yourself. You return. Returning is the practice. Returning is the proof of safety. Returning teaches the brain that discipline does not equal punishment. Do you see how different this feels? There is no drama here, no all or nothing thinking, no identity crisis, just repetition, gentleness, and trust. The brain does not believe in the enemy. Discipline was simply waiting to be invited in through love. Let me leave you with this, my dear one, a truth I have lived, practiced, and seen transform countless lives. When I love myself, I naturally choose what supports me. Thank you so much.